Hey guys, today is the last day for our sale at Fantasy Sabers, where with every order you get a free The Chosen One Deluxe Edition. Ends 17th of March, don't miss out. Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. Let's start today's story on Christophersis, where Anakin's 501st have engaged the Separatist droid army. This is a crucial battle in the Clone Wars, as the Republic forces need to gain victory in order to secure vital trade routes through the Corellian hyperlane. Their opponent is led by Asajj Ventress, the ruthless Sith acolyte under Count Dooku. As Anakin and the 501st push forward, they make a breakthrough and get into the droid position, overrunning their enemy. Simultaneously, Anakin and Captain Rex engage Ventress, and Skywalker's blade clashes with hers. As Anakin presses forward with all of his might, he uses his training from Obi-Wan to gain the upper hand on Ventress, fighting with skill and strength. But Ventress was one step ahead, seeing the advancing clone captain as a weakness, and she lunges at Rex, who shoots bolts from his pistols to defend himself, but it was too late. Ventress first cuts his weapon in half before impaling and killing Captain Rex. Anakin goes into a fit of rage, leaping straight back into battle and screaming with anger and hate. Ventress mocked him, which only caused Skywalker to grow more enraged, but in his anger, he left himself defenseless, and Asajj sliced the hilt of Anakin's saber in half, causing the crystal to spill out. Defenseless and seemingly beaten, Anakin relies on his pain and hate to protect himself, grabbing Ventress with the Force and choking her, and before she could react, she was dead. Anakin picks up his Kyber crystal as the area around him begins to shake, and tears stream across his face. He looks back down at his crystal and sees the color changing, reacting to his internal emotions. Before he can do anything, a loud bang sounds, and the crystal shifts to a glowing crimson color. Anakin doesn't understand what's happened. He now wields a blade of the Sith. Anakin returns to the temple and goes to the council chambers. When Anakin ignites his newly rebuilt lightsaber before the Jedi Council, the crimson glow fills the chamber, stunning everyone into silence. Mace Windu is the first to speak, demanding an immediate explanation. Yoda watches Anakin with narrowed eyes, troubled by the sight of a Jedi wielding a Sith blade. Obi-Wan looked between them, torn between his faith in his former apprentice and the undeniable warning sign before him. Some Jedi, like Saesee Tiin and Evan Peel, quickly jump to the conclusion that Anakin has fallen to the dark side, arguing that no Jedi has ever wielded a red blade without embracing the dark side. Others, like Plo Koon and Shakti, attempt to calm the room, insisting that there must be more to the story. Kit Fisto suggests that the Kyber crystal may have reacted to something within Anakin, but whether that reaction is permanent or reversible remains uncertain. Still shaken by the event himself, Anakin insists that he never intended to corrupt his crystal and that he does not serve the dark side. But Windu isn't convinced, warning that Anakin has always been reckless and emotional, and that the dark side feeds on those traits. Ki-Adi-Mundi agrees, pointing out that Anakin's bond to the Force has always been unorthodox, and now it seems that bond is leading him down a dangerous path. Obi-Wan tries to defend Anakin, saying that the color of his blade does not define him, that Anakin has proven his loyalty time and time again. But Adi Gallia reminds the Council of past Jedi who also claimed loyalty before their inevitable fall, namely Count Dooku. The debate grows heated, some Jedi arguing that Anakin should undergo trials to prove he has not fallen, others suggesting that he must be removed from the Order altogether. Anakin just stands there, fists clenched, feeling every ounce of their distrust weighing on him. They speak of him as if he is not in the room, as if he is an unstable weapon that could turn against them at any moment. Anger simmers beneath his skin, not because he wants to prove them right, but because no matter what he does, they will never fully trust him. Frustrated, betrayed, and unwilling to listen to any more of their doubts, he turns on his heels and storms out of the chamber, leaving the Jedi to argue over what to do with the Chosen One, who now wields the blade of their greatest enemy. Anakin returns home where he finds Padme and explains what's happened, who becomes very worried. She tries to comfort him, assuring him that the Jedi will come to understand, that they will see that he is still the same man, but he struggles to believe it himself. The doubt, the suspicion in their eyes, the way they spoke about him as if he was already lost. It lingers in his mind like a wound that refuses to heal. He feels alone, more than ever, and now that Rex is dead, he feels like he has no one, and that feeling only deepens when word of his red blade spreads beyond the council chambers. The clones whisper about it, fellow Jedi glance at him with uncertainty, and even Ahsoka looks at him differently, concern etched across her face. She was raised to believe that if a user wields a red blade, they are the enemy. It's not fear yet, but he can sense how easily it could become fear. And then, as if fate itself has given him an answer, a summons arrives from Chancellor Palpatine. Anakin knows he should refuse, but he doesn't. He enters the Chancellor's chambers, the warm, rich glow of Coruscant's cityscape behind them, and listens as Palpatine speaks to him in a calm, measured tone. He doesn't condemn Anakin's blade, he praises it. He tells Anakin what he has always longed to hear, that the Jedi do not understand true power, that they fear it, they fear him. That the Force is not meant to be shackled by rules written by men too afraid to grasp its full potential. That Anakin is more powerful than what the Jedi want him to be. Anakin says nothing at first, but he listens, because Palpatine is the only one who isn't looking at him with judgment, the only one who isn't demanding answers or treating him like a problem to be solved. And for the first time, Anakin wonders if maybe, just maybe, the Chancellor is right. Anakin returns to the council chambers as the Jedi Masters debate Anakin's fate. Mace Windu is firm, insisting that Anakin's red blade is proof of his instability, a sign that he is too dangerous to remain among them. Obi-Wan and Plo Koon reject this, but the decision ultimately comes down to Yoda. The Grand Master listens, before suggesting an alternative, a spiritual exile, where Anakin can confront his emotions away from the pressures of war and expectations of the Order. If he can prove that he is not a servant of evil, a Jedi he will remain. The room falls silent as the Jedi nod in agreement. Anakin is sent to Jeddah, where the ancient Jedi temple resides. He is alone here, away from the war, away from the expectations of the Jedi, and left only with his thoughts and the weight of his red blade. He pores over ancient texts, seeking answers, learning about kyber crystals, their connection to the Force, and their bond to the wielder's soul. He meditates for hours, searching within himself, trying to understand what had happened, why his blade had changed, and why the council feared him. Doubt creeps into his mind as he questions whether he had already fallen to the dark side, and whether the darkness had already taken hold of him. But as he wrestles with his dragon, a guardian of the wills appears before him. Anakin asks who they are, and they explain that they are the living embodiment of the Force. Anakin didn't understand this, but the will explains that only he can see them in the real world due to his connection to the Force as the Chosen One. The will explains that the color of his crystal is a reflection of his own soul, that only by purifying himself, by confronting his pain and his anger, can he truly restore balance within. Anakin listens, trains, and grows stronger. The wills guide him, teaching him deeper aspects of the Force and showing him to let go of his burdens without suppressing them, and how to wield his power without being consumed by it. He practices daily, learning control, understanding patience, and letting go of the weight that had been crushing down on him for so long. He realizes that his entire life he has carried the fear of loss, the anger at the injustices he has seen, and the pain of never truly belonging. These emotions had always fueled him, pushed him forward, but they had also chained him. Now for the first time, he learns how to use his power without relying on his anger. He learns to harness the Force with a clarity he had never done before, to not act out of fear or hatred, but out of true purpose. He faces his past and accepts it, but refuses to let it define him. His training intensifies as the weeks turn into months, and as time passes, Anakin transforms. The raw, untamed power within him is no longer a raging storm, but a steady, controlled force. After months of being away in exile, Anakin feels a lot better, and although he has not mastered his emotions yet, he is a lot better than when he arrived. Seeing the red blade didn't hurt him anymore. He embraced it, and he trusted that it was a part of him, but surely didn't define who he was as a person. He is no longer trapped by the expectations of the Jedi, or the whispers of the dark side. He is Anakin Skywalker, stronger than ever before. Across the galaxy, the war grows more brutal, entire systems falling into chaos as the Republic and Separatists push each other to the breaking point. After a meeting with the Council to discuss his mentality, the Council granted him approval to return to the battlefield, and that's exactly what Anakin does, his red blade igniting fear and uncertainty even amongst his own troops. The clones still fight behind him, but their loyalty is mixed with unease, the color of his weapon a constant reminder of the dark path many fear he is walking. Even Obi-Wan struggles to hide his concern, watching his apprentice fight with the same skill and intensity, but sensing something different in him. The Jedi Council remains divided, wary of Anakin's return, but unable to deny his effectiveness as a warrior. Meanwhile, Darth Sidious sets his final trap into motion, arranging for the so-called kidnapping of Supreme Chancellor Palpatine, ensuring he is taken to the volcanic world of Mustafar, hidden behind an impenetrable fortress guarded by the Separatist deadliest warriors. The Senate erupts in panic, the Republic is shaken to its core, demanding immediate action. The Jedi know it is deception, a ploy designed to manipulate them, but they have no choice. Palpatine must be recovered before the Republic collapses into disarray. Anakin and Obi-Wan are sent to Mustafar alongside Yoda, who will lead the aerial assault. As they set course for Mustafar, neither of them realize they are walking into Sidious's carefully laid trap, one that will push Anakin to his breaking point and determine whether he will rise above his darkness or finally succumb to it. The battle erupts into one of the most savage conflicts of the Clone Wars, a chaotic storm of fire and destruction as Republic and Separatist forces clash across the volcanic wasteland of Mustafar. Clones and droids tear into each other with relentless fury, blaster bolts lighting up the smoke-filled air as warships rain fire from above. The heat of the planet only adds to the suffocating intensity of the battle, turning the battlefield into a nightmare of death and ruin. Amid the carnage, Anakin and Obi-Wan carve their way through waves of enemies, cutting down battle droids with precision and skill as they push deeper into the Separatist base. Dooku waits for them, with Palpatine chained to a seat, just like in Revenge of the Sith. The Sith Lord ignites his crimson blade, welcoming the duel that he knows is inevitable. The three warriors engage in a fast, brutal contest of skill and power, their sabers clashing in a deadly dance, sending sparks flying with each violent impact. Dooku expertly counters their relentless attacks, his mastery of the blade keeping both Jedi at bay. The Master Swordsman put Anakin on the defensive, while forcing Obi-Wan to fight with offense, refusing their innate styles. But as he gets the upper hand, Obi-Wan is knocked unconscious. Anakin barely has enough time to react before Dooku turns on him, eyes gleaming with amusement and something colder, certainty. He taunts Anakin, his words like venom in the young Jedi's ears, mocking him, telling him that he's already fallen, that the proof is in his own hands, in the red glow of his blade. Anakin hesitates for only a second, but in that moment, anger surges within him like a storm, drowning out everything else. Dooku parries Anakin's strikes, but the raw power behind Anakin's attacks is unstoppable. Strike after strike, Anakin forces the count back, his movements no longer guided by discipline, but by aggression, by fury, by something dangerously close to hate. But then the moment comes, Dooku falters and drops to his knees, defenseless before the Jedi Knight as he slices his head from his body. Anakin puffs as he looks down at the body. As Anakin stands over Dooku's lifeless body, the red glow of his saber cascades against his face. He stares at his reflection in the hilt of his blade. He didn't want to become Dooku. The anger he feels is something that he believed he had conquered, but now it consumes him. And for the briefest of seconds, Anakin doubts everything. It is then that Palpatine laughs and smiles at Anakin. He congratulates him, a proud father seeing his creation finally embrace its true purpose. The Sith Lord's voice is full of approval, a sickening assurance that Anakin finally discovered his true potential, power unrestrained and limitless. In Palpatine's mind, Anakin is ready to fully commit to the dark side, and all of the signs he has seen would show that. Palpatine reveals himself as Darth Sidious and offers Anakin the path to complete mastery. The The dark side now clearly laid out before him, claiming that this is his destiny, that nothing in his past, in his life, has been made by chance. Yet, as Sidious's words hang in the air, Anakin's mind drifts back to Jeddah, the place where he learned that he had a choice that only he could make. He remembers the wills, the wisdom they shared, the teachings of balance, of selflessness, and of sacrifice. With each memory, Anakin remembers the lessons he learned and that the color of his lightsaber didn't need to define him. For the first time in his life, Anakin Skywalker sees through the darkness, and in that moment, he chooses a different path, one where he can be the protector he was meant to be, not a conqueror and villain. Palpatine scoffs and ignites his saber hidden in his sleeve. If Anakin won't turn, he will die. Anakin clashes with Sidious in a brutal, high-stakes duel, their sabers colliding in bursts of red and crackling energy. The Sith Lord fights with overwhelming speed and precision, his mastery of the dark side pushing Anakin to his limits. Every strike forces Anakin back. Sidious's lightning tears through the air, searing pain into Anakin's body as he struggles to hold his ground. He fights with everything he has, drawing on his training, his instincts, and all he learned on Jeddah. But Sidious is too powerful. Sidious hurls Anakin across the chamber, slamming him against the ground as pain courses through every nerve. The Sith Lord looms over him, ready to end it. But before he can strike, the chamber erupts with the arrival of Republic reinforcements from space, led by Master Yoda. The Jedi Grand Master leaps into battle, his green blade a blur as he intercepts Sidious, forcing him back. Clones storm the battlefield, pushing back the separatists and turning the tide of the fight. Anakin rises, determination burning in his eyes. Together, he and Yoda press the attack, their combined strength forcing Sidious onto the defensive, and they are able to kill him. After the defeat of Sidious and the final remnants of the war are swept away, Anakin finds a moment of quiet amid the chaos. He steps away from the others, retreating to a quiet corner of the ruined temple, his fingers curling around the red kyber crystal that had once powered his blade in darkness. He sinks into meditation, allowing himself to face everything he has buried, every wound, every scar, every failure, every moment he let his pain dictate his path. He simply acknowledges them, accepting them as part of who he is, not as burdens but as lessons. And as he does this, something shifts. The crystal in his palm pulses, faint at first but then stronger, and when he opens his eyes, the deep crimson hue has begun to fade, softening into something lighter, something pure. The corruption that had once bled into it is gone, washed away in the clarity of his acceptance. The war is over, but the Jedi are forever changed. Shaken by the cost of their failures, the Council's rigid traditions that had nearly cost them not just Anakin but the future itself, began the slow work of reform. No longer does the Order demand emotional detachment. No longer does it ignore the complexity of the Force and the people who wield it. They listen, they adapt, and they grow, and Anakin, now a Jedi Master, finds himself on a new path. Not one dictated by the expectations of others, but by his own understanding of what it means to be a Jedi. He builds a new saber, and its blade is now white. A symbol of his journey, not light, not dark, but balance. And in this new era, he is not alone. Padme stands by his side, no longer a secret after she gave birth to their children. But the Council does not exile him. They do not demand that he walks away from love, but instead seek to learn from him, to understand why love does not have to lead to the dark. Together, Anakin and Padme carve out a life free from the shadows of war, a life where love and duty are not at odds, but are intertwined. Their home on Naboo becomes a place of peace, of laughter, and of quiet moments where Anakin can simply be, where he can chase his children through sunlit fields, teach Luke how to hold a saber for the first time, and watch Leia argue fiercely with Padme about politics at the dinner table. He still trains Jedi, still teaches them to see the Force not in absolutes, but in all of its complexities, ensuring that the mistakes of the past are not repeated. He does not want students who blindly follow orders, and who fear their emotions. He wants them to think, to feel, and to understand. And so, as the years pass, the Jedi Order changes with him, no longer an institution clinging to outdated doctrines, but something new, something better. And at the heart of it all, Anakin Skywalker had completed the prophecy. He was a father, a husband, and a Jedi. A man who has walked through darkness and come out the other side stronger for it.
Before we start, at Fantasy Sabers, we're launching the Chosen One affordable version. This is almost an identical replica of the Chosen One saber with just a few tweaks, but it's still packing all of its power and glory. And to celebrate, for the first 2 weeks of its launch, we're giving away one for free with every saber order. Just choose your saber, add it to the cart to claim your free saber. Don't miss out on this limited time only sale. Now back to the video.
Thank you all for watching today's video. Please check out our saber shop, Fantasy Sabers, where you can get your very own NeoPixel saber for an affordable price and fulfill your childhood dreams of becoming a Jedi or Sith. Also check out our membership platform to be able to watch our videos early, and may the Force be with you.